PAS is a music intervention in two spaces. One on the internet, in cyberspace, through broadcasting, setting up an internet radio, which broadcasts for a period of a month, live 24 hours, and performance in studio performances. The second phase is a series of live performances across venues in the city, in Cape Town. Venues such as the Cathedral, Slave Church, iconic spaces, which are also not traditional music venues.
We decided to be vague about it and call it a music intervention that brings people together through their love of music. How do you do that? We then decided it's got to have an element that is through a medium that most people will understand. Radio was that medium. But we wanted to do that in a 21st century way, so radio on the internet.
This is the Pan-African Space Station. It is only music, but we love it.
But then if you have the internet as a platform, why not have other elements that can actually increase what it means to be on the radio in the internet? So the blogging of writing literature, blogging of making pictures or drawings, visual art, became a very strong element that influenced how the music was going to be consumed, enjoyed, and discussed and debated. We asked the listeners to engage with it intellectually, philosophically, personally. So we wanted it to be a platform for sharing music, not just consuming music.
Will you please give a warm round of applause for Blackjack?
There's a skeleton in the closet, that was me. Through the leaks, within the cupboards, you can never see.
And we want to use the radio station to garner support and bring awareness to the live music events which happen over 4 days in and around the city.
For me, the growth relates to the radio station, because for me that's the permanent infrastructure that did not exist that we put in place.
We've also managed this year to bring in other curators who will work with us to create excitement around the weekly events at the station. We just had Brendan Bussey, who introduced, or reintroduced rather, Garth Erasmus to this community, and Garth telling us about what he's designing lately, what he's thinking about lately. So that for me is a big movement up from last year.
I think that we see the success of last year, this year, the level of anticipation, the level of interest that you see this year is probably based on the fact that it's the second time it happens.
We all have to worry. It's a recession. Don't pay attention to what's going on in the neighborhood.
PAS, in some way stands for something, and in some way is a complete word on its own. So we came to that because we called this the Pan-African Space Station. The idea of Africans putting a pod in space, but Africans observing our space. But the idea of a PAS, as in the allowance to come in, come out, references to the old system of apartheid and who was allowed because of a document and who wasn't. So playing on all of those ideas is how and where the name came from.